Hey folks, last week I read an article about the rise of Christian nationalism. Now the article spoke about a lot of different things, but it really, I think they tried to offer the reader a view of how it got its start, where its roots are found. And so it focused on a now deceased pastor by the name of Jerry Falwell. And it spoke about some of the things that he was saying and some of the ways he was offering his teachings, and that his language was very warlike. It was about fighting battles. It was about fighting wars. In one of the quotes they used, it was something along the lines of, "Our battle isn't between conservatives and liberals. Our battle is between those who love Christ and those who do not." It was very aggressive. It was very combative language. It was very menacing, and it was calling his followers to go to war, to undertake a religious war against those who held opposing political values, and it was in this way that they were able to begin to develop a Christian voting bloc. It was really fascinating. I'll include a link to it in the comments, and I'll include a link to it in the description, and you can check it out for yourself and see what you think of it. But in this video, what I want to talk about is actually his posture of calling his followers to battle. Now, that's not necessarily something that many Christian ministers, many Christians appreciate. But I actually do. See, I believe that we are called to battle. I believe that Christians are called to fight a war. Where I would differ from Jerry Falwell is that I don't believe that the war we, as Christians, as children of God, are called to fight is against other human beings. I don't believe we are called to battle against other people. I don't believe we are called to destroy those who don't believe the same things we believe them, or believe the same things in the way we believe them. I believe we are, however, called to fight. The trick is knowing who the enemy is. The enemy isn't the person sitting across from me. The enemy isn't a person who attends a Pentecostal church or a Roman Catholic church. The enemy isn't somebody who votes Liberal or New Democrat. The enemy isn't somebody who votes Conservative or Republican. The enemy can be seen in others. The enemy that we're called to fight can be seen manifesting itself in others, in humans. But that still doesn't make them our enemy. That doesn't make them the ones we should be fighting against. We should be fighting against those things that oppress the people of our world. We should be fighting against those things that oppress our neighbors, that oppress our friends and family and strangers, that oppress our communities. We should be fighting against things like greed. We should be fighting against things like poverty. We should be fighting against things like injustice and inequality. We should be fighting against things like hatred. In all of their forms, this is the war Christians are called to go to. This is the war that we are called to fight. The war we are called to win. This needs to be at the forefront. We should see ourselves as people who are called to help the vulnerable, the sick, the impoverished, the broken, the hopeless, the desolate, the lonely. We should see ourselves as people who are called to help the widows and the orphans, the hungry and the thirsty, the prisoners. We should see ourselves as people who don't have to destroy another human being, but rather who are called to raise up every other human being. People who are called to change the hearts of our neighbors. Called to help them see the glory that is found in giving, the glory that is found in helping those around us live an abundant life, live a healthy life, experience the few years that we have here in safety without anxiety or worry. This is the war we are asked to fight. This is the war we are asked to win. Politics shift, ebb and flow. Governments change. The people who are rich today will not be the same people who are rich tomorrow. The people who have power today won't always have power. Those enemies we think we perceive all around us, they'll change. They won't always be the threat that we think they are today. These things that I mentioned, poverty, hatred, inequality, injustice, they are always with us. They are always our enemy. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord's face be made to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord's countenance be lifted up to you. May you always know the peace of being in the Lord's presence. And I pray that together we will choose to tackle things like injustice and inequality and hatred, and poverty and greed, that we will be courageous and bold, that we will accept our calling to fight this battle, to win this war. Amen.